Hello, everybody. We are back for another Shiny Developer Series live stream, and we are trying Twitch this time. See how it goes. I've been watching quite a few data science streamers lately, and this platform's definitely expanding quite a bit, so I figured let's give it a shot. So I have a few things to cover off the top. Some personal stuff at first, because boy, I have a doozy of a story for all of you. And then we're gonna get into building some really cool, kind of multi-component shiny app that's gonna become, you might say, a mini system, because at the day job I'm kind of being asked more and more to develop not just single things, but things that integrate multiple components together. So since I obviously can't talk about any of those here, I can at least start building something in the spirit of that kind of thing. So let's bring in the chat here. Hopefully everything's there smooth. And there is the chat. Hello and welcome, Yannick. Goes by French guy in the chat. Thanks for joining. You've asked about this kind of thing, and we're gonna start building it. And hopefully others will come in as well. So let's first talk about kind of what's new with me in terms of a personal thing. So I'm gonna get into yeah, well, yeah, there could be many bad things could happen if I told you about all that stuff, but let's start diving into my adventure last weekend, about a little over 8-9 days ago. So it was let's see, that didn't quite work as expected. May need to go back there. Well, that didn't go so well. My fancy OBS set decided to take a little crazy mishap there. Hopefully I'm back on live. I may confirm in the chat. If Yannick, if you don't mind, hopefully you're able to see that. Let me know if I'm back or not. That was, okay, thank you. Well, Yannick knows about this setup. This is all the Stream Deck that I tricked out with all those OBS CLI commands, and apparently sometimes when you press one of them, OBS just takes a complete, crash. So that was one of those times. Looks like I'm gonna have to do the old-fashioned way of clicking stuff. So, yeah, let me fix here a little bit. So what happened to me this past 9 days ago? Yeah, Wimpy. Yeah, he schooled me around all this. It was a long weekend. Here in the United States, it was Memorial Day weekend, and we traditionally get that Monday off from work and school, so we had to keep the kids busy with something. So we decided to take them out to a park a little west of where I live. It's got a very interesting name. It's called Turkey Run. No turkeys that I saw, but it was a nice summer day. Nice pleasant temperatures, 70s, couldn't complain about anything like that. And it's a little different kind of park. It's got all these trails and little things that make it look different than the typical Midwestern landscape in the United States. And there is a section, you can kind of see it in the background here of this screenshot, but there are a lot of little rocks around there, kind of like mountainous, almost like mountain area, but not really a mountain. It's just kind of got those little creeks, river running down water. And of course, my oldest wants to go as far as he can go. And well, he he went a little too far, and we all had to follow him. And I'm making sure the little one, who's now 5 but very cautious around these things, is safe. So I'm kind of holding him while I'm climbing these increasingly treacherous rocks. And we get to a point where there's just no way we can go farther. So I tell my wife that we're turning around, we're going back, and we even started going back before the oldest one did. He was still trying to explore and going a little crazy there. And we got pretty close to being done into the, you might say, the safe area. There was one last step that was a bit steep, and I miscalculated, went down the left foot, completely bent the ankle, slipped on slippery water, broke the left foot right on the top there. Knew something was wrong when I started walking on and it just didn't feel right, but I somehow managed to get back to the car. And after the car ride back and I tried to put weight on it, yeah, that was not happening. So went to the urgent care, they did the x-ray, yep, broken foot. Apparently one of the best places possible because it's kind of at the top, so not really, it sounds like it's going to heal on its own, although I have an appointment tomorrow afternoon with the orthopedic specialist to make sure everything's on track, but I am in a very tough walking boot for the next probably 6 to 8 weeks, unless they tell me otherwise, for almost 24 hours a day. So I've been telling some of you, if you're watching from like the R world, I've been trying to share some of this in text, but I did trick out my little boot. So this is what I sent a tweet about the other day. I decided to put a little hex sticker on it, and I dare say the package I picked has to do with bootstrap sampling, so you know, can't go wrong with that. So why not trick it out a little bit, have some fun with it. So so that's the broken foot saga. Hopefully I'm on the right track, but it takes me about like 3 times as long to do routine things around the house as it did before, so I'm adapting, if you will. So okay, let's get to some dev work here. So in case you haven't noticed, there's a lot more streaming happening these days. I've seen it. In fact, how I got started with all of this is being a part of the really fun Wimpy's World group. That's a lot of the Ubuntu Mate community in the Linux world, and it all started with Martin, who goes by Wimpy, showing us how he's been streaming some of his dev work, and a few of us were inspired to kind of try our own hand in that, and I am the numbers geek of everybody. I figured, well, if they can do it with Linux stuff, I can do it with our stuff. So I've been working on this stuff ever since, and I've now, you know, done a few of these under my belt, but there's a lot of stuff happening in the communities of Linux and data science and R with streaming on Twitch and YouTube, and I love it. Like, it's this burgeoning community coming together. And in fact, somebody I've been watching recently who just started doing her own Twitch streams, Jessie Matsiak, she has Mastapak, sorry, so I keep her saying it out loud. She's done this great post on her blog recently about a roundup of all the data science Twitch streamers. And there's just a lot happening in this group. We won't have to go for all the names, but I'll highlight a couple of them. Afton, she's been doing awesome work with developing a package and a Shiny app for the Shiny contest, and she really showed me what was possible in doing this with kind of the R workflow, and many others are jumping into this realm. I'm one of them, obviously, and I'm trying to get more regular with it, but it's just really fun. Tan also is somebody I've been watching quite a bit. And oh, we're seeing some more people come into the stream here. So Unicorn Coder, hello, thanks for joining. So yeah, there's a lot happening in this space, and frankly, it's a lot to keep track of. I haven't even touched on the ones that are going to YouTube for their streaming. People like David Robinson and Julia Silgi. So there's a lot happening, and I want to start keeping track of it, but also with kind of this core group that I've started streaming with on this Linux community side of things. We all want to make sure that we're I won't say it's a competition, but we like to be able to support each other and be able to watch each other's streams. So I started setting up a calendar just amongst this little group, and we're using a platform called Nextcloud, which is, if you're not familiar, Nextcloud is kind of a self-hosted, you might say, Dropbox and a bunch of other, you know, organizational things that you can run on your own server that kind of mimics a typical storage or office-like setup. So with the Wimpy's World group that I'm a part of, I thought, okay, well, let's get a calendar together so we can kind of see when everybody's doing their streams, and we can come to say hi, support each other, and give great feedback. So the interface is okay. It's utilitarian, I'll say. I mean, Nextcloud will not win any awards for user interface, bling or anything. And we started to see some of us. Yeah, Yannick is commenting, this schedule is getting pretty filled, right? I mean, Yannick does these great dev setups with the Software Boutique for Ubuntu Mate and some other cool stuff with his podcast. Big Pod is doing great things with his development work. Monica, of course, is doing great things with the Ubuntu community. And like I said, I don't even have on here all the data science stuff happening. So one thing we noticed is that the UI for updating this calendar kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. It can be a little quirky to get the times right. But I figure, well, we can still use something like Nextcloud or maybe a different service in the future as a backend, but why not put a better UI on top of this, and more importantly, be able to integrate this with other stuff? Like, imagine this. Imagine that as part of like a streaming community, you're part of a Discord channel or some other platform for kind of group communication. What if you had a way to simply summon this calendar on demand and quickly get that snapshot of who's doing all the streaming? Well, why not integrate this kind of technology with other languages to maybe make all this happen? So naturally, I'm thinking of R and Shiny as a way to make this happen. And as I started thinking about the feasibility of this, I discovered that behind the scenes of Nextcloud, as well as even things like Google Calendar or some of the kind of Outlook or email programs like Outlook from Microsoft or things like that, they're using something called the caldav system. It's kind of like an API, but it's been around a very long time to handle calendar and scheduling bits. So now that I know that Nextcloud is handling something like this, why not figure out, can we tap into something like caldav from a programming language? Well, as you might guess, yes, we can. And in my research, I discovered a Python package called caldav 0.8.0, which is basically a client library for the caldav API. So that is great, right? Now we can have a programmable interface to tap into working on a back end of a calendar. So now the step is, if I can use this from within Shiny, I could build a better UI on top of this. And the UI I am thinking of is a great package. It's actually a suite of UI elements from the fine folks at Dreamers. Dreamers is kind of an organization for creating custom Shiny applications for clients and other R consultation. Well, they have this great package called Toast UI. Toast UI has 3 different components. It's got a nice visualization of grid-like structures, kind of interactive tables. Whoops, I just went crazy on my desktop there. Hold on, here we go. But the one that caught my eye is this, a calendar widget. Now this already, even before we get into it, looks better than what Nextcloud offers, maybe even better than what Google Calendar offers. And there are some maybe bits of interaction we can play with here. So this is already becoming a system with multiple pieces together. So let's start mixing this up, so to speak. So what I'm hoping that we can do today is start exploring what it's like to run this utility from both Python exclusively, but also within R. And maybe we can get a prototype UI in front of this, even if it's not really hooked the way I want to for the full picture. If we can just get the bits kind of connected at first, we can start seeing about making this a supercharged kind of streamer calendar setup. So as you can tell, this is going to be a multi-part process. There's definitely no way I'm getting this done today, but I've seen other streamers like Tan do this kind of great evolution of a project across multiple streams, and you get to hear kind of his thought process as he's been building some of his like Dynasty process football analytics shiny apps. So I want to kind of take that similar approach here. So let's start getting into some coding, shall we? And let's turn our attention to VS Code. We're going to look at VS Code today to look at bits, but I want to show you some cool thing I discovered thanks to my efforts of being a curator for the R Weekly project. Now VS Code has an extension that interacts with an open source diagramming utility called draw.io. So I can start drawing diagrams in VS Code directly. So I have a very basic diagram here. There's nothing really to see here other than I got kind of the shiny bit, which would be like the front end. And we're gonna go to Nextcloud to push, after we get a lot of things hooked up, we're gonna push updates to the calendar that's stored in Nextcloud, but also make sure that the shiny app is refreshed whenever the calendar is updated, whether it's by the app itself or by other components that maybe get to the calendar. And maybe we can serve up the calendar into other frameworks or other platforms for easy viewing. And I have Discord as one of the options we can start with, but we could easily do like a general API behind this and let somebody just do a curl request to grab the web page as like an embeddable calendar. I don't know. I'm just exploring here. So we could have a lot of fun with this, right? So I started sketching that out. Again, nothing spectacular, but I'm going to start putting this in the README as I evolve it as we go forward. So let's start seeing how in Python we can start grabbing these calendar objects, and then we're going to start seeing how we can call this from within R, but yet use the same module, if you will, so that we have the flexibility of doing this from R directly, even though we're kind of outsourcing the processing to Python. So I fully admit I am not an expert Python coder. I only know enough to be very slightly dangerous, but others on this stream audience definitely know more about it than I do, so don't laugh at my horrific coding style, but we're just gonna get through it. So we're gonna start running some stuff here. I'm gonna start loading my modules here. The real big ones are the date time module, which I think comes built in, and caldav, which is the one I just showed on the browser. And I'm also going to do some slick things where I import the environment variables for my Nextcloud authentication without embedding them into the code, because that would be a very bad idea. So I'm going to use the .env package for that. So let's start. My mouse is a little touchy here. We'll start running some stuff. Get those loaded. The caldav URL is what Nextcloud serves, and it's very straightforward. It's got my Nextcloud domain /remote.php/dav. That was just part of the Nextcloud documentation. And yes, Yannick, we are most definitely over-engineering this, because some people might say, why the bloody heck are you just not using Google Calendar for this? But you know what? You don't learn unless you over-engineer. That's my motto anyway. So let's get to this. So we've got the URL defined. We're gonna load my environment variables, and those are stored. I'm not gonna open it here, but those are stored in a file called .env. But I do have an example that I put in GitHub where you could see like what is that structure if you wanted to do something like this for another service that at least right now, only offers the basic authentication for their API, which is kind of like what we're dealing with here. Okay, so the caldav package in their documentation says we have to initialize a dav client, which is what this bit is about. We just feed in the URL, and then we give it the username and password to get to that service. So we will go ahead and run that, and we'll start bringing in the calendars that are on the system and start making sure we can see all that. Now there's one calendar that's kind of dedicated to like this Ubuntu Monte / Wimpy's World calendar, and we call it at least I called it the Wimpy's World of Streamers. But we also want to, I didn't update the code yet, but I want to also put in this testing calendar that I have in Nextcloud already, that I don't care if any bad things happen to it. But I'm not sure how to call it with the more friendly name. So I'm thinking what I have to do is I have to see what this calendar's object is giving us. Oh, I gotta get rid of that. Okay, so it's not pretty printed, but I got the aliases. Okay, this is the one I want. Eric's Play Calendar. So I'm gonna copy that bit, and we are going to put that here. Whoops, my mouse decided to not be nice to me. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm gonna call this test cal, because I don't want to break the Wimpy calendar until I know what all this does. So I'm gonna start at least getting these into the system. We'll start playing with things a little bit. Now, there is another way to define a specific calendar to interact with, and that's like this calendar method for that client object. So I think I was just experimenting with things at this point, but I'm not. Well, we'll start with the Wimpy one, and then we'll change it over to the other one once I verify this all works. So let's now grab the yeah, what happened to test and prod? Come on now, I'm not going to be that daring. I've been burned by that this week in other projects already. So I'm going to take the events from this, and you can see basically the caldav package has these different methods that seem to be pretty logically named, such as this one for returning all the events in a calendar. So I feel like that's pretty straightforward. And let's just start printing this out. And if you wonder where I got this code from, I basically lifted it from the PyDoc of that Python module. I didn't really invent anything new. So let's start printing some stuff out. Okay, so that is a lot of stuff. Let me see about moving this console to the right. Okay, good. So let's see what all this gobbledygook is. There's a lot of events here, as Yannick said. In fact, we almost filled up the console output. So our Wimpy's World calendar has 18 calendar events. Good grief, yeah, we are busy folks. I think because some of these are going to be recurring, although I'm not sure. So if we look at what output we're getting here, we have the event URL, which it looks like it's got the same alias of the calendar, but then this more cryptically named file .ics, which I think is a calendar specific file name. And then looks like some versioning kind of things. Now this is important. We get a timestamp for when it was created. So I guess that not so much when the event is, but when somebody created that event. So for this particular event, this was created by me. Oh yeah, let's do. Oh no, not me. No, gosh, no, that's not me. That was Yannick Streamberry stream. So he created that on May 12th. It looks like, and this is now DT start. I believe is the time it starts. So that was May 14th. I'm gonna on my other screen. I'm gonna look at this. Yep, that is a May 14 event on Nextcloud. And it's got the timestamp, but the time zone is in European time, because of course Yannick is based in Europe. So it looks like we definitely want to grab this kind of information from each entry. And the summary looks like the description. Like there's a summary, which is kind of like the title, and then in each calendar entry is like a more verbose description. This is just like if you have a day, if you work in the industry and you have to schedule meetings with people, I'm sure you use the description for like the meeting purpose and like the telecom number and all that stuff, but I don't want to talk about work right now. So that is the description. I feel like all the rest of it's kind of just more ancillary information, but I can definitely see a few things that I've got to parse through here and make sure I'm getting the right bits. But the key point is we've got a whole bunch of events here. In fact, Big Pod's event for learning about Python for programming. And yep, he has more streams. So yeah, Big Pod's working on a bunch of stuff. Okay, so I think, yeah, a lot of this is coming back from May, so that's why we see so many entries. Mine is in here somewhere. I'm just curious. There it is. Well, this is one that actually Martin led, but I was part of Martin's stream for his Slim DevOps day job for slimming down orange shiny containers in Docker, so I was part of that, and that was fun. Okay, so anyway, we got the events here. Now I wonder, we can now do some exploration on the calendars themselves. So, oh, Monica's made it. Hello, Monica. Thank you for joining. You missed my first crash in OBS. Again, probably some over-engineering or the OBS CLI going completely crazy on me. So anyway, let's start running some other things with the calendar objects. Let's see, it looks like I have to scroll down here. Yep, happens to everybody. Yeah, there was some shenanigans on a few OBS streams I've seen lately in the data sciences, data science streamers I've seen lately too, so nobody's immune to it. Okay, so this is printing this calendars object, just getting the name of it, the URL. We can, let me see, I may move this back a little bit. So I just simply printed that in a print statement, these attributes from that calendar object. Yeah, Yannick always deserves a timeout, especially when he beats me up in racing. Anyway, wait, he is in time? Is that like a Twitch thing? I have no idea. I hope I didn't screw anything up. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what happened there. I did not do it, I promise. Maybe Stream Elements is being a little too picky about something. Okay, so looks like we've got, okay, I need to maybe go a little more lenient on there. I'm sorry for that, Yannick. It was not my fault, honest. So for the calendars thing, we got the name, we got the URL. I think I was just more exploring what names are in this thing. So you refresh your browser and it got, oh, I have no idea. I have no idea why they would do that, but I will try to fix that for next time. My apologies for that. Thank you, Monica, for doing that. Once I figure out how to do like moderators on here, I will be glad to make you a moderator for all of this. Oh, I do remember a Twitch thing or a Stream Elements thing about too many characters in a row. So yeah, you've been warned, I guess. Okay, so that's working pretty good. Oh good, Monica is a moderator already. I don't even remember how I did it before, so thank you. I'm past me for doing that. Now, let's up the ante a little bit. I feel like I've got things I want from here. Yeah. So I'm gonna get out of Python here because if I'm gonna put this in a Shiny app, I gotta be able to call this from R directly. But I did prove out that the caldav package in Python itself works somewhat, at least according to plan, from what I could tell in the very, very limited time that I've spent on this. So we're going to move that back to bottom. Let us now open the R code. So it's going to look a little different because obviously we're based in R now, and we're going to use what's called the reticulate package to be that bridge between R and Python. This has always been something I wanted to explore more for personal projects because I've actually not had good luck running reticulate at the day job. Yeah, so a question from As Bates, was your Python being run in Docker? Yes, actually both Python and R are being run in Docker in this setup I'm doing right now. But at the day job, we have custom environments. Some of them are being run in Docker, and sometimes we just run them on straight Linux servers that are run with Red Hat version 7, whatever. But our Linux team gives us custom installations of Python that we load via the modules command. And there are just some weird things that can happen that are crazy. Anyway. Now let's see, I didn't test this since last week. We will see if the reticulate stuff works according to plan. But first I need to launch an R terminal. So in Visual Studio Code, we do the command palette, create R terminal, and we are here. So that's looking good. We're running R version 4.1. That is the latest and greatest of R. And let's start trying stuff out. And of course, I always forget that the keyboard shortcuts in this are different than in that Python execution. So let's, oh gosh, what is happening here? Okay, we're gonna try that one more time. There we go. Okay. My caps lock key didn't get mapped to control anymore, so that threw me off. Okay, so we got reticulate. I think the .r profile file is taking care of the Python location. In my Docker container, it's a user bin Python 3. So I feel like I've got that taken care of, but this will be the true test. We're going to start running basically that same type of code that we did in the Python script, but in R. And so in reticulate, after you load reticulate, you just use a function called import, which is basically loading whatever Python packages you want for that given analysis. And since I'm going to use R for everything but the calendar stuff, all I need is that caldav module. So I'm just going to load that here. Well, that is weird. Okay. Now, what that typically means reticulate did not get the environment correctly. Let me see here. We're gonna go back to our profile. Yeah, that did not work as planned. Well, we are going to now hop into, well, we got another issue here actually. The other issue is my .r profile file got destroyed because this is supposed to load a whole bunch of bits with integration with Visual Studio Code, and that got absolutely wiped away. And so we are going to hop back to my GitHub, and I might have to restore something that got broken. Okay, real life, right? Things go crazy. So let me go to my repos. I thought I had taken care of this. I break a lot of things. It's been one of those days. Oh gosh, even this doesn't have it. Okay, well, good news for me is that I do have it somewhere else. The repo that I use for all my R development, kind of Dockerized, fancy container setup is right here at github.com/rpodcast/rdevprojects. I'll put that in the chat in case any of you want to look at that. And in this realm here, incognito mode, yeah. Well, and did I? I don't know. I'm not sure. This is Firefox, by the way. Yeah, unless I'm a little brain fried today. So let me see. Where are our library scripts? This is the one. We're gonna copy this and we're gonna put that into the other one. Okay. So now let's hop back to VS Code. Keep that here. Boom. Now, I believe they want us to set this environment before all this stuff is set up. I could be wrong. But let's see. We're gonna give this a shot. Let's get rid of the terminal here since that completely broke. And let's see if we run the R terminal again. This should set up some bits with, oh wait, I know why I don't have this stuff. Oh, silly me. I don't have REnv in this project. Yeah, this is all for REnv, and I don't need to do any of this. Oh gosh, silly me. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of it. Yeah. We'll try this one more time in here, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to RStudio for it. So I've got both of them ready to go. So that's why I didn't have it. I over-engineer even my development setup as well. Let's try this again. Radar terminal. Now, go back to here. Now, I remember Reticulate had a method for Python, like, environment stuff. Oh gosh, use Python. I want to see what happens here. Oh, it doesn't do any of that. Okay, let's start exploring the Reticulate documentation and see what I messed up here. Because obviously if I can't figure out Reticulate stuff, the Shiny app's not going to work very well either. So let's see. Help topics by package. Go to Reticulate. Where are you? Wait a minute. Where's Reticulate? Oh, that's really bizarre. That is really bizarre. I do have Reticulate. Oh, maybe I have to load it first. That could be one. Okay, let's see if that refreshes it here. There it is. Okay. So... okay, great. I don't want to install Python. We should have Python. Alright, there it is. PyConfig. Alright, let's see what that is. Okay. This is what I thought I solved. User bin Python 3. 3.8.5. That's what the Ubuntu container has. Got NumPy. So like, why didn't that work? Let's try that again, I guess. Close that. Alright, get that going. My gosh, what is that about? Alright, well, guess what, we're going to our studio server now. Let me switch the scene here. Now, this preview edition of our studio server has like a dark theme already, the login page, so that's pretty cool. Okay, we're gonna open this up. Shiny Dev Series projects, Shiny Cow. Okay, and let's open up, because I know I tested this part the other day. So let's give it a shot here. Now that reticulate load took longer than the other one. I think that's a good sign, but let's find out. Yeah, see? Okay. So there must be a Visual Studio Code thing. Yeah, so a question from Nero and Stats. He's asking, or he or she's asking, what do I need to configure Python for? Well, I'm loading a Python module into R, and Reticulate typically gets kind of fussy with Python configurations that are in Docker containers. So I've had to set up an R profile file in the root of the project to force it to where I installed Python, and I thought that would take care of it, and it does within RStudio itself, but it seems like Visual Studio Code doesn't quite get that. So I guess we're doing RStudio today. So okay, let's run that client method to make sure that works here. Okay, that was quick. And let's get those calendars out. You can see I have to copy over some stuff I did before. I'm not sure what principle is. See, now when I'm in more of my comfortable environment, I can start exploring these objects that the Python module is giving us. Oh gosh, you can see I even left the equal signs. Not that it matters, but I gotta keep consistent with the style that I use in my day job here. So what is this principal object? It is basically a big list of stuff, it looks like. Wow, that's a lot of stuff, and I'm not going to explore all of it yet, but we will keep that in mind. And we got the client object, and you can see in RStudio that says that's a caldav client object in memory. I don't dare try to opening that yet, but I want to start grabbing the other bits here. And let's load per as well, because we're going to start doing per stuff, and we're going to start doing the same thing we did in that Python code. We're going to walk over that calendars list that it looks like we have a list of 3 things here, and it should be 3 calendars. And you can see we've got the name, the URL, that's all I put on here, and I got my play calendar on there too. So we are going to, I'm going to copy that bit that we had from the other file. I'm going to copy paste from the other thing here. I'm going to put that here, the test cal URL. Again, I got to change those signs. That's going to drive me nuts if I mix that up. Okay, so we've got all 3 here. We're going to start running that stuff. And then we're going to start grabbing the defining the calendar object for those different calendars. So if we do the wimpy one here, I'm not going to do the personal one because that's actually my personal calendar. You all don't want to see that. Call this wimpy events. Make sure my variable names are consistent. Oh, Afton, you made it! Hello, you I know it's early for you on your time zone, but you'll want to watch the replay because that shiny stuff I did with OBS was at the top, and you were in that somewhat. So that was before the crash, by the way. So I'm glad you missed the crash at least. Okay, so let's define the wimpy cal. That worked. Wimpy events. So now we're going to start exploring the wimpy events. Same type of list. Now, the way we explored this in RStudio is list objects have a nice little viewer icon where you can start grabbing all the elements of a list and start drilling down into different things. And that's where you see, like I was alluding to, a whole mess of different attributes for these calendar entries. And what I will be only interested in a few of them. So let's see. I want to find all that time stuff, but you can see here a lot of these like attribute things are very cryptic to me. So I'm guessing there are things in these things here. Now that, whoa, I definitely should not have shown that. Looks like I'm changing my password after tomorrow. So I have no idea what I'm looking for yet. What I want is just the time of each event. But maybe I'm in the wrong thing. I need to replicate something else. So what I did in this script here is I did get the events. Oh, what am I? Yeah, I'm in the events. So in each of these things, I want to start looking for the key metadata I want. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. If I can start figuring out what's in all these things. Instance. Oh, that's definitely not it. All I want is like the time stuff. So do I have to do other methods to get the time of events? Maybe I have to just look at the Python's documentation for this thing and start figuring out the different functions I need to get, like the starting time, the ending time, the author, and all that good stuff. So we're going back to docs, I guess. So let's go here. Was I in this already? Okay, yeah, okay. So let's see what we got here. This is just basic dev client. That is oddly not that helpful, at least right now. Maybe there's stuff in here, object definitions, add event. We will do add event stuff later, but I don't want to do that yet. Return a list of events. I want to get what that event object has, and if we can start parsing things from it. Good grief. It's just a lot of stuff here. Dav object, event is used to represent. I don't know what that means either. Okay then, maybe there was I think they linked to a Python script where they said basic usage examples. Let's see what this has here. This is where I started getting some example code that I used to get that printing stuff. So yeah, you can see I basically lifted this code right here of how to do that. Let me see, I may zoom in on this a touch in case it's hard to read. Now I know, yeah, they want to add an event, but is there any way just to get various attributes of an event? Instance the event dot summary dot. Okay, I feel like that may have led me into the right direction. There should be a v object instance. Maybe there's something here. No. What is contents? Maybe we're getting somewhere here. Time. Oh, do we have it? Components. Boy, that all still looks so cryptic. Wow, that is just a lot of things. Okay. Maybe we have to take a step back a little bit. Let's start grabbing an event and start just on event. The events. All right, should be. I think we had 18 events. It always helps to just kind of take a step back, and you can see this is a event object that points to that weird thing, that ICS file. Well, let's see what the structure is. So it's got its own print method. So this is getting back to the Python module of what it has. So I'm just going to live dangerously. Let's see what happens if we can. Okay, so let's see if any of these instance things can help us. Okay, so you can see in our studio we got little tooltips. Yeah, I'm looking for a DT start. I'm looking for where I can get that attribute somewhere. So I'm kind of seeing data. What does that do? Oh, ho, ho. Okay. So that's that gobbledygook stuff that we printed in the Python script that gave us kind of that text dump with carriage returns in this case of all the different things behind the data. But can we parse this in a not so ugly way? Like, there's no way I want to get into regex just for this. I want to be able to grab it from a more robust object. So I feel like we're getting somewhere though. So but let's just start saving things just for reference in case we need to go back to this. Data obj is just a string. So yeah, that's what I thought. It's just a character string. So I think we're on the right track. Now let's start seeing what other methods we have here. What does children do? Now let's give it a shot. That makes absolutely no sense. Okay, other than the file. Okay. Get properties. Oh, that looks familiar. Or maybe promising. It still gives me that thing. Whatever that thing. So get property prop. Now I have no idea if this will work, but I'm gonna figure out if we can use that. Let me copy this to my script here. I want to print that nonsense again, and let's see if we can grab a property based on this stuff. So I wonder if we can get let's just TZID. I wonder if this will work. It probably won't, but no, STR has no edge. Oh gosh, wow. Okay. Yeah, let's do DT start. You're right, Yannick. Let's just try that. Yeah, it's definitely not the way they expect you to interact with that. Okay, let's go back to the docs again. Maybe I just was skimming through it too much. I'm just gonna kind of trace through like all events. We got all events. Whoa, look at Monica getting an RStudio pubs doc. Oh my gosh, what did you find here? Okay, let me... Wow, I love stream-driven development. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh, look at that. Why didn't this come up in my search? This is from 2020 as well. Okay. Well, look at that. Doesn't that look familiar? That's all that stuff that my thing is doing. So, iCal, they have a function called iCal. Now, I wonder if this is really dependent on Google Calendar, or if we could use this with any calendar that you can get to the ICS file. Okay, let's research this a little more. The calendar package may. Okay, I feel like this may have. Okay, okay. The calendar package. Well, this would be something if. Well, that's not a good sign. Unless it's just a bad link. Let's see if we can. Whoops. I want something that's well maintained too. Well, that is a interesting site. No idea what that's about. Go calendar. Okay, so it looks like we can get to that ICS file, no matter how we get there, then we can play with this. Okay. Well, let's give it a shot. Might as well try now. Let's install this. So that is calendar. I'll update my Docker container after this once I get through all this installation and prototyping. I'll just install it now. Now we got looper date. Okay, yep, that's a good package to get too. Okay, so let's, this is the most unorganized script I've done in a while, but let's just explore this here. Let's go back to, oh, we can look at the docs within our studio, silly me. That one there. Okay, so I'd love to just get to that example and start playing with it. Okay, iCal example. Okay, we're just gonna copy this. Hopefully this works. I have no idea what that's about. But anyway, hopefully that worked. iCal example. Oh, empty. Oh, they changed the package name. I think that's, yeah, okay, that's why. They didn't update their own example. Okay, iCal, so it's a character string, so. But I guess what I want to see if I can just, let's see what methods we have here. Maybe I need to start exploring this a bit more. Like I want to extract attributes. Oh, okay, so let's see what. Aha, I might have something here, so. Attributes, back, X, example. Yeah, this is kind of the stuff I want. You can see, I think this will be what we want. Let's. Yeah, so they gave it as like a one column data frame, I think, or at least I think that's what that is. Let's save it out. X. What is X? It is a character string. Oh, it's a character string again, but we should be able to just grab one named vector. Yeah, let's see what names of X is. Good point, Tan. Yes, you are correct. Now let's see if we go back here. And let's experiment with just getting the attributes I'm interested in. So I see attributes equal DT start. Let's just see if that gives us something. Okay, what is X? Well, that still gave us everything, so that's a little strange. Let me read calendar attributes. Oh, did I call it wrong? Well, that's weird. I mean, you would think that it would. Oh, they call it like. Oh, okay, so that may be just the names of it. Does iCal example have DT star? Yeah, let's look at it. I don't think it did. You're right. It did not. Let's just run this without it. Yeah, I'm fairly certain it did not. That's a good point. Well, of course, okay, here's the thing. This is a calendar thing, not the event thing. So I need to see if they have an event bundled here. So that's, yeah, that's the next step. Let's see if they have events bundled here. And if they do, then we're going to grab the events. I see event. Okay. Oh, that's create an IC event. I don't want to create it. I want to grab it. Let's see. IC read. Curious what this does. Object of class ICS. Now that might be promising if there are other methods here that we can let's see, yes, DF. Go back, buddy, go back. Oh, she's not. Go back, go back, go back, go back, go back. All right. Let's try this. I see read. Example. Oh, that didn't work. I see. Well, I don't know why. Okay, let's see. Car event. I see char event. Let's see what that's about. IC is an object. Okay, we need the iCal object. We need to grab that somehow. So let me think here. IC read. Oh, silly me. We just need this. That's why I wasn't working. Okay. Let's just paste this in. All right, ICSDF is a data frame. Now that has DT start. Okay. But DT stamp, UID created. Looks like it's got most of what I want. Status confirmed, summary is like the description. Okay, okay. So now we know it works with the... Not yet, buddy, not yet. It's got a... okay. So now we've got to figure out how do I do this with my Nextcloud calendar. Like, I need to somehow download that or import it with the URL that we have. I don't know if it'll work, but no harm in trying. Let's comment this out, or let's try again with this. Let's try just the URL. What did I just do? That did not work. I didn't copy it, I guess. Okay, let's... Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. I need to get... When I imported these with the other package, I was able to get like the ICS kind of path, so now I've got to go back to my environment here with the cal. Wait, no, not that one, not that one. Let me type it out. Oh no, it's just the URL. I thought I got the ICS file somehow. Okay, okay. Let me think how to grab that out. Oh, I remember in the other code. Yeah, what did this give me? Sorry, let me run this again. No, it's just the URL. Let me see. Calendars. The calendars have a name. No, it didn't. But how did my map know to get the URL from that? That's so strange. Okay. Okay, alright. So maybe the brute force way is I download the ICS file from here, and then I just import it into my temporary area. Then we can play with it. Alright. Okay, this will tell us if all this works for this. Let's see what we call that file.
Hello.
Alright, so that's it. So that's the gang's here. Okay, don't wave that in front of me, please. I'm trying to figure out calendars right now. No, not the camera, not the camera. Not. Okay. Code with these world. Okay, let's see if this. Ooh, no errors. Let's see what it gave us. Haha, look at this, We've got everything. Most everything. Although not everything is working as planned. You can see it's got this weird thing where it's like appended the DT. There's like a whole bunch of DT starts and DT ends for different time zones. So that's what Nextcloud gives us that's different. But, you know, hey, I can work with that. I can definitely work with that. So, okay. So I feel pretty good about that. But I think what I'm going to have to do is there's like multiple threads of this development where I have to kind of figure out, at some point I got to automate that process of like getting to that ICS file. And then the app will just magically grab that dynamically every time instead of just me doing that via the URL. But the good news is we do have something in store. So what we could try doing now is make an absolutely very, very basic Shiny app that runs the Toast Cal package to load that somehow, even if we just load an example one to start with. So eventually this is going to become a Golem app, because you all have heard that me say in my previous Shiny Developer Series episodes, and even some live streams, is that once you go Golem, you never go back. Colin, you owe me money for pushing Golem. No, I'm kidding, Colin. So let me start an app file. In fact, the easiest thing, we'll just do
But why are you in a meeting?
I kind of am in a meeting, actually. Yeah, you might call it that. Not quite that one. No. I'll say this doesn't have like the new Shiny stuff. Okay, that's fine. We will just please, buddy. Please. No. Gotta make a Shiny app now. All right. Library. What was I call it? Toast UI. Okay. Okay, let's see. There's what I was looking for. Just want to do a single file. Test. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Now we got it. I'm too lazy to bootstrap it from... Okay. All right, so we got that. We're definitely not doing Old Faithful here. We won't do a sidebar thing here. Oh my goodness! Wow, one of those days, I tell you. Let's get the fluid roll layout. All right. So we are probably ending at 5 for obvious reasons. So let's see how far we get here. Okay, I need to look at the documentation for Toast UI. Let's see if we can get this into a Shiny. Maybe I go to the GitHub repo for it. It might be easier that way. I put that. Okay. Let's see if they have any. Let's see if I can find that here. Articles, calendar. Let's see if they have a Shiny app example. Let's see. I don't want to just do the reference. Let's see if we can look here. Parsing, render, calendar output. That's the one. Okay, we found it. He probably wants his own setup at some point, Yannick. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Okay, the rails are coming up. Okay. Wimpy's not watching today. He's busy. So let's put that in here. Okay. Calendar output. It's just. Okay, so we've got that here. It's gonna be very basic. That all we're gonna do is put that in. Okay, so we need the session object.
Daddy can see.
Okay, and then we are going to import the
Hello.
use that calendar
Hello.
package.
Hello.
That mic doesn't work, by the way. So let's see. How do I get that file in here? Go back to my hello script.
Hello, script.
No, the script doesn't talk, buddy. The script does not talk. Okay. I don't know if it will work here. I literally have the kid.
Hello.
No.
Hello.
No. Don't do that. This is literally off the rails. Okay. All right. Down you go. Down you go. All right. Okay. Let's get the calendar object. I'll probably have to change the paths for this. This is really not right. You go. Right. Okay.
Daddy has a banana.
So this, I'm probably just gonna move it into the test app folder just for ease of use. Actually, no, I think it'll work. The working directory. Okay, let's see. Output. Test out, and then that function was called. What was it called? See, I don't even know where my my documentation is anymore. Go back to this. It was render calendar. Yep, render calendar. Okay. Render calendar. No. Okay. At this point, if I can get just any calendar to render in this app, that's a win, even if it's not the real one yet, because of the absolute chaos that is literally happening at my fingertips. All right. So they had an example calendar demo thing. So I think we're literally just gonna copy this. I really have no choice. All right. Just to see if this works. And if it works, then we'll start. Eventually, probably in the next stream, getting this working. So, okay. So let's run the app. I need to configure the viewer to do a separate tab, probably. Yeah. Here we go. Well, of course, let's look at the working directory here. Shiny cow. Or is it trying to run it from here? I know I should use the here package for this, but I think if we just go up one level, then we'll do it. Try again. Well, that just says today. That does not look correct to me. There's definitely something going on here. Now, let's see what cal demo data does. And you can see there's already chaos if you're hearing that with boys fighting. All right. Well, that looks like the right thing. Okay, we need to figure out maybe render calendar has a more different expectation there. Let's see what they do here. Oh, she's silly me. Okay, we need to do the calendar object. Okay, okay. All right, this should work. Let's find out. Oh, I gotta undo that blocking thing. Oh, there it is. Okay, we get a calendar show up in Shiny. Oh, Nelly, that's been a fun ride to get there. Okay, now, obviously here you can see this is using this calendar object for cal demo data. So what we're gonna try and do, and likely this will be for next time, is get the Nextcloud version of the calendar to this form. So this HTML widget, this Toast UI widget, expects the calendar to be a data frame of a whole bunch of stuff. And so we know we've got most of this data in different places. We know we can get the title, the body, the start and the end, the time. I don't see time zone here. That might be something we have to look at. But the real meat of this is that if I can get that ICS stuff into this format, then we're in business. But if nothing else, like I said, I proved out that in Shiny, we can get a pretty snazzy calendar. You can see that when you click an entry, you get the description, the title, the time, the description. We can color code different blocks. We can, so all the interactivity is here. And what's cool is that I believe there's a proxy object associated with this. And in Shiny, the proxy object is kind of a way for you to update something or grab updates from something without having to regenerate it every time. You see this a lot with the DT package and some of the other Shiny widgets, like the Viz Network widget also does this, where you can inject updates that kind of go to the client side directly without making your app kind of go in that whole refresh mode of spinning around and stuff. You don't need to go that far every time. So I'm fairly certain that this thing here, I've lost all my links here. If we go back to the reference here, there is a calendar proxy. This is exactly what I want. So now what methods can we do for this? I don't know yet, but that will be the key to kind of making this updating kind of in pseudo real time when we get that far. So close these out. Okay, so I feel like we've left this in a, albeit offline kind of way. We've got, if we can just get that ICS file, we can use potentially the calendar package. I'm going to write a to-do here before I forget. Use calendar package to parse ICS file and construct a data frame to set the render calendar will support. So that's the next step. If we can get that, then we're kind of smooth sailing for the rest of the prototyping. So the little one's back. Okay, so in closing, because I can tell my time is already almost up for many reasons, the best place to go for previous episodes for particular the Shiny Dev Series is the YouTube channel. ShinyDevSeries.com would be like the more main page, but this is the channel. We have a new episode coming out that we're almost finished with editing, hopefully later this week or early next week. And I hope to, well, at least it was my hope anyway, to make this whole thing kind of regular, but as you can see, that all depends on the chaos that I have to deal with over here. So feel free to send suggestions for future things you'd like me to explore, but I want to kind of make this a recurring kind of project, much like how Tan and Afton have been doing with their previous Shiny apps. So we had to go real basic this time to get that whole calendar stuff working in R. But then thanks to Monica's awesome searching, we found another R package literally called Calendar that might get us all the way there without even Python involved. So I'll be able to compare and contrast the two approaches and see if I can just get the information I need, update the calendar, send it back to Nextcloud, and get the heck out kind of thing, then I'm all for it. We always like to have systems that we want to reduce complexity when we can. I just wasn't convinced that we could reduce the complexity until I just saw that. So lots of things for me to think about. And again, I'm going to plug this very growing data science kind of streaming community out there. Definitely give a watch to Tan, who's on this stream, Afton, a few others, Mariah, she does great streams. And of course, later tonight, this is a big one in the data science side of things, the next installment of Sliced is coming your way. And one of my fellow R Weekly curators, Tony Elhabar, is one of the 4 contestants tonight. So I'm really excited to see if he can replicate a lot of the success he had in last season. And should be a fun watch if you want to look for that in the future. So for tonight anyway. All right, at the risk of using my fancy setup, I'm just going to go back to here. So thank you for watching this, I would say, very raw Shiny Developer Series live stream. Utter chaos has ensued, but I think we got through it. And we've got some cool things to think about for the future. And I think, like I said, any little wins along the way are good enough for me. And it's always real. Anything happens, whether it's cats or kids or dogs or whoever else. So I will close up shop here. Again, thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you, if not next week, and the week after that. We'll see what happens. And we'll talk to you and see you virtually then. Until next time, that is it for me. End of line. Goodbye, everybody.